and then this list was expanded at this first national workshop that I was mentioning. So stakeholder inclusion was not only, so to say, on a paper, but was active participation in the development and the activities that are necessary for the devising of the food system-based dietary guidelines. First of all, we are talking about governmental agencies, ministries, then of course universities and schools, representatives of civil sector, laboratories, research centers, and other associations. So far, the total number of the stakeholders or institutions, entities involved is 32. Another step, or the next step that we were undertaking, is the development of the situation analysis and evidence review, or so-called SIRE review. This SIRE review is aimed to be developed, and we already have the first draft that we will present at our conference in September this year. By the end of September this year, is that it involves the activity of a technical committee, technical task committee. This technical task committee is comprised of all the stakeholders involved in these activities, and then according to their expertise and field of knowledge, they are divided in 4 different working groups. So the first working group is dealing with public health, the second with agriculture, food safety and food security, the third one with nutrition, and the fourth one with the communication, evaluation and implementation. So each working group has designated responsible person, and they are working within their area of expertise. What is the SIRE, or situation analysis and evidence report? The first step was, of course, to conduct a comprehensive analysis of the current situation. Then, on the basis of the situation that is currently in the country, in the field, the technical recommendations will be devised and developed, of course, that are completely and strictly evidence-based. After that, the third step is diet modeling. So to utilize these diet modeling techniques to assess the impact of the food system-based dietary guidelines and dietary patterns. And then, of course, implementation, planning and development. But during the course of the whole process, we have established the tools and modalities for monitoring and evaluation in case that some corrective actions are needed. So what is why this is important, and what is bringing to Montenegro and to the citizens of our country? First of all, these guidelines have the potential to enhance sustainable food systems and promote healthy diets
of their students, of the children that eat there, through school meals and through other types of intervention, but also to affect, for instance, the suppliers of the ingredients for school meals, the suppliers of the foods that are sold in the schools, and also to develop the local community. And I will showcase how we do this and how we promote this through FAO's approach. Considering the expertise that FAO has in all the areas of the food system, we put together a holistic model that has different areas of work in which we support governments to enhance better diets and nutrition outcomes in school children and adolescents, to support the realization of their right to adequate food, to support community socioeconomic development, and also to support local food system transformation. And we do this through 4 areas of work. The first one is how do we ensure that the food that is available in schools is adequate for the needs of the children in that context? How do we support that it is adequate and healthy? So we do this through promotion of different policies, be it in the regulation of the sale and marketing of the different foods that are sold, but also on having standards, nutrition standards on school meal programs, for instance, which are the largest safety net in the world. We also work through the curriculum. One of the main parts of schools is how children can have life skills, skills that will accompany them through all their education and hopefully in their adulthood. So how do we incorporate food and nutrition education into the curriculum so that the children not only learn adequate skills to keep themselves healthy, but also in the future, because they will be the future actors of the food system. A very important part of this approach is how do we act through the procurement of foods, particularly for school meal programs, and the value chains. So in here, we are mostly involved in supporting smallholders to access the markets that provide the ingredients for healthier school meals, and what are also the support that we can provide smallholder farmers and small and medium enterprises to engage in those markets. So we are not only acting through the consumption of healthier meals and healthier diets for school children and adolescents, but also through the suppliers and through the market linkages. And of course, we cannot do any of this without an enabling policy and legal framework. And we support countries to understand all the policies and all the regulations that are affecting schools, also the supply of ingredients for school meals, how they are coherent or what instances of incoherences they exist. So this is an example of this approach that we are currently supporting in different countries at the moment. And we try to adapt the holistic approach that I just showed you. We are trying not to only impact one aspect of all the possibilities in the schools to enhance diets of school children, but also how to support the school food environment, the policy framework, and how to link with the procurement aspect. So we are doing this through development of nutrition standards and guidelines for school meals, but not only nutrition standards in a holistic approach. And what do we mean by school meal nutrition guidelines and standards? We are talking about the principles, the rules that are defined in a country based on sound nutrition science, and also to evaluate the evidence at the national and the local situation to improve the nutrition quality of the school meals that are provided to children. We have a small difference between guidelines and standards, and it often depends on if they're voluntary, if they are obligatory, or if they are quantitative or qualitative. But basically, it's how the countries, how the ministries define what the school meals should provide for children. And we are not only considering the nutrition priorities of school children, we're also considering what the school food system or what the supply and the value chains around the school meals can actually provide. What are the resources that countries have in their school meal programs to make the best possible meal in terms of nutrition? So why do we need to define nutrition guidelines and standards for school meal programs that are holistic in nature? We want to ensure that they are strengthening the pathways for meeting programmatic nutrition objectives of school meal programs. In many occasions, these programs have nutrition objectives, but sometimes impact evaluations are really not showing the adequate impact in terms of diets or in terms of nutrition outcomes of the children. We want to also ensure that children and adolescents are entitled to the same benefits across countries, across regions, in terms of what that meal will provide to them on the nutrition composition. And we are also using this set of rules to operationalize children's right to food in schools. And at the same time, as we're talking of a holistic approach, we only not want to make sure that they have a healthy school meal every day, but that they also learn about what a healthy diet means in practice. We are currently developing a project which aims to support countries to develop these nutrition guidelines and standards. And as the previous speaker showcased, we are supporting what are the phases to do that. What type of evidence do we need to look at? What type of data do we need to look at? Not all the school meals in the world have to have the same composition, of course, because it depends on the context and the needs of the children. So what we are doing is to put in place a process that all countries can follow independent of the type of data, on the type of evidence that they have, to ensure that they are defining what the best type of meal possible in terms of the resources, in terms of the food system can be for the children in their countries. So we are also putting together a set of guidance manuals in the 4 areas that I mentioned before, because we know that children do not only eat a school meal in their day, they also sometimes bring food from home. They also purchase foods that are sold within and outside schools. And we know that they have a whole curriculum that they learn. So we are moving together these pieces and trying to ensure that there is coherence and complementarity also for the school meal nutrition guidelines and standards to have better impact on their diets. We are pilot testing this process that I mentioned, or this step-by-step methodology, in 2 countries, in Cambodia and Ghana. And very
Melissa,
quickly,
can you kindly wrap?
Yes. So very quickly, we are piloting this in Cambodia, and we are putting together all the data that we can have in terms of the nutrition needs of children, and also what are the aspects of the school food system, so we can accompany the government to set adequate nutrition guidelines and standards for their school meals. We are also supporting capacity development, multi-stakeholder validation of these standards, as well as evaluation of their actual impact. And as I have no more time, I leave you with a few resources where you can learn all about FAO's school food and nutrition approach. We also work with other UN agencies on this area, and you can, we are available to share with you any guidance that we have at the moment. We have produced guidance in all the areas of work that we'll be more than happy to share. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Melissa. You've really given an extremely convincing argument for why we need to be thinking of this holistic programming. There's so much potential there in schools and the work of school food and nutrition to really be transformative, not only in the lives of children, but as you spelled, for communities, for today and for the future. So I know you had more to share in terms of tools for FAO, and we've got colleagues from FAO there in the room, and they'll be more than happy to discuss with you, the participants, today after the event. Thank you so much, Melissa. Now let's move to our next panelist. Our next panelist, again, joining us virtually, this time from Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan. It's Miss Aida Jamangulova. She is the director of the Agency for Development Initiatives, Kyrgyzstan. Ms. Jamagulova is social protection is an important underlying system that's intertwined with food systems, water systems, and health systems. It's absolutely critical for good nutrition and therefore sustainable development. We look forward to you sharing with us some of your experiences on nutrition-sensitive social protection. Ms. Jamagulova will be speaking in Russian, so you may want to consider the interpretation that is available to you. Aida, the floor is yours.
Добрый день. Я надеюсь, что у меня...
Good afternoon. I hope that you can hear me very well in the hall.
предоставленную возможность.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share my experience within the program that we are implementing. The program was implemented in Kyrgyzstan within the general program on agriculture and social protection. Sorry, the sound of the speaker is breaking. That's why I'm not hearing very well. Вы можете поменять канал. Поменяйте канал, и вы не будете слышать. You need to turn off the translation function, and then you won't hear the translation. No, please press the globe sign and turn off the translation. Then you won't hear the translation and you can speak. You should change. No, you should change you should change the functions in your Zoom. Below there is the sign of a globe, and you can choose it and turn off the translation or change the channel. My presentation is technically sent to the organizers, and could you please turn on the presentation? Could you please turn on the presentation in the room?
The presentation is now up in the room. Aida, you may continue.
Да, я просто не вижу.
Yes, I do not see the presentation. My apologies for some technical issues. Could you please put the second slide? I will speak Russian. My slides are in English. Next slide, please. As I mentioned before, I'm pleased to share our experience on our work within the program of Cash Plus. What is this program about? The Cash Plus is the bonus to the monthly payment that is given to the families with the low income and with multiple children. And this additional payment that is made by the state, they also additionally to this receive the agricultural resources, the trainings, and the also trainings on the healthy diet. Within this program, in 2017-2019, 150 households in the 3 districts of Kyrgyzstan managed to receive different seeds of vegetables and managed to work in horticulture. In 2021-2022, also additionally 150 households received the package for the development of their agricultural activity, which allowed these households to receive the additional income and improve their food security status. Also, within this program, the Cabinet of Ministers decree was developed on providing the single-time social allowance to the families with low income on the basis of the social contract. This program is being implemented successfully from the start of the last year, and this program Cash Plus is developed by our organization, by our agency, and by the social fund. And we developed the program on the opportunity to supply the residuals of the food to these to such families and to these households. A little bit about the school nutrition in Kyrgyzstan. Since 2006, we have the program on the school nutrition, based on which the state provides breakfast for the school students, a glass of milk, and some pastry. Since 2013, with the support of international organizations and with the support of the communities and the parents, the schools started to transfer to the hot food. And also the programs with the support of international organizations, including FAO. We started the school household program. There are several main directions. One of them is the education in the sphere of healthy diet. So it means that the senior students can combine their natural sciences lessons with the healthy diet lessons. And another type of such trainings provided is the management of the household, on how to provide the fresh products. Also in 2020, with the technical support of FAO, we developed the regulation on school garden, where we provide the methodical regulations on how the schools can organize these school management. Next slide, and the next slide again, I will miss it. And within this program, as I mentioned before, we have conducted the assessment of the opportunities of the participants of Cash Plus project, and also some other minor farmers on selling the products to the schools. So we have the programs school home grow feeding. This is the system when the local products are used, the local products produced by the local farmers are used by the schools and other social organizations. And there we tested how the minor farmers, the small farmers, can support the supply of the products to the schools. And there we conducted the analysis of the menu of the hot food, which products are required at schools, which of these products can be grown at the local level, and also how can we assess the quality of these products. Also, we researched the purchase process, the bidding process, in terms of how the small farmers can participate within these processes. Next slide, please. I think that I will share some key results of this research. The law on state purchase of the state procurement process of Kyrgyzstan has the note on that the small farmers can participate in the bidding process, but there are some small factors that create some obstacles for the small farmers to participate in this process. Within one district where we looked at in more details in the process of organization of the supply of the products to schools, demonstrated the involvement of the different stakeholders. This can be not only the state budget, but also the contribution by the parents, and also near school household. And also we saw that there are the local charity organizations and the mosques, which also contribute to the diversity of the menu of the school students. Also, we saw that in practice, the most part of the procurement of the season products, especially like milk, eggs, they go through the farmers. Of course, with the providing of different documents that can support and improve the quality of the products. This also causes some challenges for the small farmers. Next slide, please. In total, we assessed all the products that are used to the school menu. In green, you can see those products that can be grown at the local level. In blue color, these are the products that can be recycled at the local level, and in yellow are the products that are not growing at the local level, and they require more detailed analysis, the quality analysis, such like oil and others, and they should be purchased centralized in a centralized manner. As you can see from this scheme, most part of the products can be purchased from the local farmers. These are mainly vegetables, fruit, eggs, and etc. Speaking of the desires of the farmers and the opportunities for them to participate in the tenders, among those problems that they mentioned is the process of procurement and supply, because the process of supply of products to schools, there are the long-term payments that are not good for the farmers, and the difficulty of participation in the tender itself, because in Kyrgyzstan all procurement go through the electronic portal, like platform, most of the farmers, they have problems with computer literacy and access to computer and internet. Then the problem of the food security of the products. They have quite difficult task here to cover with all the needed projects within the whole school period. And some farmers mentioned here that probably there can be lack of the knowledge and skills or in the agro-techniques of some crops that are required in the region. But nevertheless, the small producers that participated in the survey, they said that they were ready to provide their products for the schools. They are ready to grow not only traditional crops like potato, beans, carrot and onion, but also they are ready to look at the new types of crops. For example, in Talas region, this is a green bean, and some other products, some other types of beans that are not traditional, but they are ready to look at growing them. And another important point that I should mention, especially for the participants of the program Cash Plus, as I said, these are the representatives of vulnerable groups. They will have not only they will cause not only social effect, not only economic effect, but also social effect. Those who participate in those programs, they become the very useful, very productive members of society. This is also the quite good benefit of Cash Plus program.
Несколько было рекомендаций.
There were several recommendations about the procurement. I can omit this. So here the main conclusion is that the different types of procurements can be used. Some of the products can be at the central procurement, and some of them can be reallocated to the local administration so that they can purchase the products themselves. I will note here the main recommendations on the involvement of the local farmers. Next slide, please. The trainings, the organization of trainings for the small farmers and the involving into this Cash Plus program. In future, such trainings can allow to create the legal entities so that they can provide the necessary amount, the diversity of the crops, and also officially participate in the tender processes. Also, of course, we need to contribute to the organizing of the tender process and the training in growing different crops. And also, if there will be the social order for some small farmers, of course, we need to organize the system of accounting and recording of the food security of all the processing, starting from the resources used for the crops and the whole process itself. And I think we need to involve some opportunities for the support of the processing of these products. The last slide. And of course, all the participants of the survey, both parents and teachers and the workers of the food process, they are asking to increase the amount of trainings for the food security. In general, this is all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, again, really so many recommendations, so many lessons coming out of the experience in Kyrgyzstan. And that was also what we heard from our first two speakers. There's so much to learn from one another. And that really takes us right to our fourth panelist, who is Miss Laura de Matias, who's going to talk to us about how we can continue sharing some of these lessons, building on an experience that she has had. She is a food systems expert from the FAO Food Systems and Food Safety Division. And I'm so happy that she is the fourth of our panelists, so she can bring together how we can continue to share and learn from one another even after today's event. Laura, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nancy, for the introduction, and thanks, Keigo, for inviting me to join this session. It's a pleasure to be with you today, and I'm happy that we are traveling across the Europe and Central Asia region, and actually I want to bring you a bit farther to the west. To the Mediterranean region. The Mediterranean region is the initiative that I would like to focus on today, describe to you how we are promoting sustainable food systems in the Mediterranean through the SFS Med platform. I will try to control the slide from here. Yes, excellent, thank you. When I say how we are promoting food systems sustainability in the Mediterranean, by we, I mean not only FAO, but a coalition of partners that are CIAM, the Center for Agronomic Studies in the Mediterranean, PRIMA, which is a partnership for research and innovation in the Mediterranean, and the Union for Mediterranean, which is a political alliance of Euro-Mediterranean countries. Starting with the UN Food System Summit in 2021, these four partners decided to join efforts through the funding from the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs in order to understand what are common trends and common patterns of food systems across the region, and also try to identify what are the levers for transformation. So what are the areas where we can collaborate on, where should we focus our investment, and where should we focus our research and innovation efforts. And as you can see from the slides, the Mediterranean diet is one of these levers that we identified through speaking with practitioners and policymakers across the region. We know that the Mediterranean diet is associated with increasing health and nutrition benefits, especially in relation to non-communicable diseases. It is also associated to lower environmental impact in terms of the use of soil, use of water, compared to other more, let's say, westernized diets. And it is also a cultural and social relevance. It was declared by the UNESCO one of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. However, data is also showing us that, unfortunately, this diet is in decline. We are progressively detaching from the Mediterranean diet model, and there is increasingly rates of obesity, of overweight in the region, and due to lifestyle changes and due to progressive fast pace in urbanization, let's say the time for cooking, the time for enjoying the meals is reducing, and so people are demanding and looking for more and more ultra-processed, pre-packaged, pre-prepared food, which has, unfortunately, a negative impact on the nutritional outcomes and also on the overexploitation of natural resources. So, in a way, similar to what we were mentioning today in the opening, how can we rebalance between the traditional diet, and the modern lifestyle changes? How can we reconcile all of these challenges to move towards the Mediterranean region, towards more sustainable, more equitable, and more environmentally friendly food systems? And this is what we are trying to promote through the SFS Med platform, through four components. The first component that I would like to refer to today is the policy dialogue. So we are helping countries across the region, and especially Albania, Morocco. We are testing this approach in Albania, Morocco, and Jordan, to, under the leadership of the Ministry of Agriculture, bring together several sectors, several ministries, but also local municipalities. I'm happy to hear, for example, from Aida also the importance of local administration in advancing sustainable food system. So you can see here on the slides that we are helping countries organize this kind of exchanges to bring together the different stakeholders that are engaged around food, have a more multi-sectoral, multi-perspective conversation around food. And for example, what emerged in Morocco is that what they would like to focus on is how to green their food system, how to move to greener production, processing, consumption practices to deliver more sustainable diets. And they are doing so under the green generation strategy, where they really want to put youth, women at the center of this green transition. From this type of dialogue, what is emerging is some kind of strategic roadmaps, like a compass that leads the country and the cities towards this transition. In Albania, for example, the pictures you see here are from implementation of some activities in Albania where they put agrotourism. They selected agrotourism as a significant lever for the country, strategic lever for the countries, in order to link farmers, businesses, and consumers. Consumers both as tourists and as school children. And the goal here is to address the issue of the population of rural poverty, through an agrotourism model that can really revive local varieties, local breeds with the help of also of genetic banks, can provide nutrition education, nutrition awareness, agrobiodiversity awareness to school children and to local and also international tourists that visit Albania, the Albanian countryside, and also generate new job opportunities. So you can see how agrotourism and sustainable agri-food is really at the center of an economic, environmental, social development mechanism. The third component is that one of knowledge sharing. And here we are really going back to the regional dimension, the whole of Mediterranean dimension, and we are holding quarterly knowledge exchanges where we invite stakeholders from the science, the policy, the research sector, the finance sector to discuss what are the levers. And in a recent exchange about consumer empowerment, we had the honor to have, for example, a Tunisian Nutrition Institute sharing about the school caravans they organized, Cyprus with their Ministry of Education talking about their curricula education for reviving the Mediterranean diet and teaching children, for example, how to differentiate between saturated fats, non-saturated fats, and so on and so forth. And Prima, the Partnership for Research and Innovation, sharing about a digital tool that is assessing households' consumption and through a tablet, through an app, is teaching families how to change, let's say, their consumption habits. So these kind of knowledge exchanges are really meant to foster this network and this potential collaboration across countries. Last but not least, again, the focus on urban food system. I want to again stress the fact that cities and local communities are at the center, need to be at the center of the food system transformation, because they hold a lot of a key role and competencies, as we heard today from our speakers, for example, in school procurement, but also in land use planning, as well as in market and market management, food waste management. So it is necessary that we listen to cities when we devise this kind of national strategies, and that also we make a vertical link, let's say, from the national to the regional to the sub-national and local level. And this is what we are also, again, trying to promote, for example, in Albania, in Morocco, and in the countries that we target. I think, yes, I will conclude with just with this reminder of that we need to act and work as a system considering all the actors across the spectrum, from the cities to the national level. Thank you, Nancy, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Lara. In addition to sharing some of those interesting innovative practices, I'm sure reflecting just on that process of how the SFS Med it shares ideas and shares that knowledge, I think that that's also very useful for us to be thinking around how we can build off these successful experiences to catalyze continued action in other contexts. So thank you so much for sharing that with us today. That was the last of our technical panelists, but I'm very happy that we have the opportunity for some special remarks regarding experiences right there in Uzbekistan. So our next speaker will be Dr. Habibullah Hamdamov, who is a professor at Samarkand State University of Veterinary Medicine, Animal Husbandry, and Biotechnology. He will provide us some very special remarks related to food systems and, I understand, animal husbandry. I hope I'm right. Dr. Hamdamov, the floor is yours, and you have 3 minutes, please.
Thank you very much. Dear colleagues, dear guests, first of all, let me welcome you on behalf of Veterinary and Livestock Services of Uzbekistan on this ancient and always young land of Samarkand, the former center of the Silk Road. And in continuation of all speech, I must say that everything, healthy diet begins from quality products produced. And it starts not only from the just cold chain supply, assuring cold chain for meat, let's say, or for milk. It starts from the how do you feed animal, what kind of forage you feed, because now everybody knows that such things like aflatoxins, toxins that coming from forage, never disappears. It continues its way through the cow's organisms, sheep organisms, through milk, and finally, unfortunately, it affects the livers and others of the human beings. That's we need to consider this problem in complex. So another issue is sustainable livestock production. And in Uzbekistan, when we have just only 4 million of irrigated land and about 450,000 hectares of land allocated for forage production, you see it is very difficult for livestock to compete on this issue. Also, some figures from statistics, having on just only 11% of lands, GDP produced by livestock, the share of GDP in total agriculture products consists of 57%. It's just a miracle. Having just 11% of land, we are producing 57% of GDP in agriculture. That means that livestock production is more profitable, and it also depends on the demand of growing demand of population. Now we are more than 36 million, and every year our population increased by 1 million. We are a very fast growing nation, and of course also the growing wealthiness of the population. When revenue got by average family grows, that changes our consumption patterns. That so more milk, more meat that are usually more expensive are being consumed. And for this issue, I must share with you our experience in intensive livestock development in Uzbekistan last 4 years. Because in 2019, government of Uzbekistan established new committee called Veterinary and Livestock Development Committee, State Committee. And during this period, the number of cattle increased from 12 million to 14 million. The number of small ruminants increased also to several millions. We had 67 million of poultry in Uzbekistan. Now we have about 100 million poultry. The same figures we can observe in fish production and honey bee. And I must say that everything depends from demand and also supported by the government policy. For example, last year there was adopted a 5-year program for livestock development in Uzbekistan from 2022 to 2026. And there were mentioned not only such indicators like improving forage production, increasing value of forage production, but also everything including from environmental impact, delivering good quality cadre for with all sectors of livestock. And so all important issues was reflected in this program. And since last year, we got very good results, and also government supports livestock in kind of issuing different kind of subsidies, because first subsidies was issued for importing of pedigree animals. That directly reflected in improving pedigree status of the Uzbekistan cattle and also small ruminant. Also, improved breed will deliver more quality livestock. And another status of livestock production in Uzbekistan is that we have an increasing trend, the trend of increasing the number of large farmers. We have about more than 25 farms that are bigger than 1,000 cattle. And we just 3-4 years ago, we didn't have such figures. Now it is becoming profitable business, of course very complex. It needs a lot of multi-factors supply, starting from forage production, buying animals, construction, good quality buildings, animal welfare, and a lot of long chain of production. It's much complex than just crop production. But when it comes to a very good professional approach, it can be very profitable. And also, we do hope that in future we will be able to provide first our local populations with livestock products. That is most important. The second issue is there is a very good vista of export of such products that doesn't need our local natural input. I mean the poultry production. Usually poultry production is based on the grain, and grain usually imported from Russia, from Kazakhstan, and we have a lot of wheat that, frankly speaking, is much easier to produce than to sell it for Russia now, for example. But if we could have direct approach to this market, unfortunately, we are double landlocked country. We have to import it and transfer it through several countries, so sometimes we're having a problem. But the trend of last year shows that poultry production has very good vista, and it's proved by export of this product in several foreign countries. Different kind of products, starting from hatching eggs, meat of chicken meat and eggs. So in general, unfortunately, I have only 3 minutes to speak. In general, it's our now current status of livestock production in Uzbekistan. So as you can see, we have good figures, good trends for development. And if you have any question, I am ready. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hamdamov. It's very important to have some of those very local experiences to bring to the table in today's discussion. So we're very pleased that you could have joined us. And now, my dear audience, we have come to the end of our session. And so I'm so pleased that I'm not going to be wrapping us up today. I have the pleasure of handing the floor over to our Deputy Minister of Health of Uzbekistan, Dr. Simbrovo Ulugbek. Dr. Ulugbek, it's my pleasure to have you join us today to wrap up our session. Thank you to everyone who has come on behalf of the FAO, and I hand the floor over to you, Dr. Ulugbek.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be in this conference. I will speak in Russian. Уважаемые коллеги,
Dear colleagues, I'm happy to greet you at this conference, which is very relevant, and it's aimed at the safe and secure nutrition. The food security is very important, and in our country it's regulated by two committees. It is the Sanitary Epidemiology Committee, the Sanitary Committee, and also by two agencies. And also we have the special markers that allow to control the security of the food products that are that are coming to our to the people. And also there are several laws on the food security. Also, there are the different decrees and different orders about the security. The food security is controlled by our agencies, by our committees, and also another aspect there is a healthy diet. Healthy diet is, as was mentioned by our colleagues, is very important. There is a change in the process of nutrition. There is the obesity, the malnutrition on the other side, and the lack of the beneficial elements. And that's why yesterday we signed the decree. The presidential decree was signed on the healthy diet. So the organization, the establishment of the special agency that will look at the healthy lifestyle and the strategic development in this regard. So it means that the state pays a lot of attention to the healthy lifestyle, which will become the guarantee of the prosperity of our population. We can speak a lot about this, but the conferences like our conference contribute a lot to the awareness raising in this process. I'm very grateful to all the participants, especially when we gathered at this ancient land of Samarkand. It allows us to receive the new experience, the new knowledge, and to develop the networking and to share the knowledge and best lessons. Thank you very much to our participants and to the organizers. Rahmat.
Thank you very much. This is
Hello, David, do you hear me?
Hello, I can hear you, but I'm having
Perfect.
difficulty getting my PowerPoint up.
Don't worry, we have your PowerPoint as long as you turn on your camera so we can see you.
I've been trying to do that, and I've had difficult. Oh, here we are.
Oh, perfect. Now we can see you all set. And if you can't have your PowerPoint, it's okay. We can pull it out. But first, we have to wait a little bit. The session is going to start, but you will be with us. Is that okay? And you don't mind
That's
presenting
no problem. That's
live?
no problem.
Perfect.
In the meantime, I will try to get it set so I can do it live.
Sure, you have
which
to.
is
I think you will have around 10 to 15 minutes. But if not, my colleague is here and he will pull up the presentation.
Which laptop should I use?
I think this is the presentation. Let's see. The first one is mine. So first we put mine, then is David Carpenter is this one. Okay. Hello, how are you? Very good to see you. We're going to start now. Sorry, we were a bit. The names are there. The Mark Mulligan was the recording, the YouTube recording that because I don't think he can make it online. Ah, he's online too. Mark, you're online?
Yes, I've just joined.
Perfect.
Voice
I'm
only.
so happy, Mark. That's wonderful. So if you can present live, that would be even better. But we do have the recording of your presentation. So, I mean,
No, I won't
whatever
be
you
able to present
prefer.
it,
We're
so
going to
just
start
back
now.
into
Everybody can hear you now. Mark, that's perfect. You're online. We have the copy of your presentation. If you can present live, it's better. If not, it's fine. We can put the recording.
No, I won't be able to present live because I'm in the
Okay.
baggage hall.
Okay. Okay. No
Too
problem.
noisy.
Then please, if you can stay with us, I hope we can have time for the questions and answers as well. David,
I will
Is my
definitely
sound
stay.
coming through correctly?
online, so he downloaded his YouTube. We have to put the YouTube afterwards. Okay. So opening is me. Then it will be David Carpenter. Then it will be Mark Mulligan. Yeah, exactly. You two, perfect. And then the rest are here. So I'm going to start. Thank you. Okay. Shall we start? Hello again. Do we have everybody? We don't have the deputy minister.
Good afternoon. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Excellencies, honorable guests, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get started very soon with our very last technical session. Please take your seats. Well, distinguished guests, I think due to all the schedule running behind, we are requested to get started. So a big welcome to all of you and thank you for giving me your last burst of energy to attend this very interesting technical session. And thank you for those who are being here and those who are joining us online. Please, first let me thank the government of Uzbekistan for this incredible space and this venue for this conference. And I am honored and privileged to be your moderator for this important topic on enhancing water and food security through clean agriculture. I am Sasha Kuoshima, the Deputy Director for FAO's Land and Water Division, and our work is very much dedicated to water resources management, sustainability, and food security. So through FAO's new water journey, globally we have been raising attention on this very topic, on the importance of water to agriculture and food security. And without water, there is no food security, in my opinion. So while we are doing all the work in finding the interconnections between water, sustainable food, sustainable water management, but it is also very important in its aspect in preserving our natural environment, our natural resource base, and biodiversity. So early this year, you may have already attended the UN 2023 Water Conference, in which the global community came together to talk about water. In this session, we will focus on water quality and clean environment for sustainable agriculture. Water is also the theme of this year's World Food Day, which is celebrated on October 16th. The theme is Water is Life, Water is Food, Leave No One Behind. At FAO headquarters in Rome, we're also hosting the Rome Water Dialogue the first week in October. During this particular dialogue, we hope to bring technical and policy perspectives on water management to safeguard our food base. I welcome you all to these events. I'm very pleased to see at today's conference the interrelationship between water, health, environment, and food security highlighted, contributing together our water journey to accelerate the goals of water and food security. Before we delve into the agenda, I would like to hand the floor to our FAO officer from Land and Water Division based in Turkey, our sub-regional office for Central Asia, to set the scene for this particular technical session. Sarah Majani, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sasha, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I know it was a long day, and thank you for being here. Hopefully we will have also some more participants. I'm very honored to be here in Samarkand. I'm originally Iranian, so for me it's even more special to be in Uzbekistan and in Samarkand. Historically, we don't have a lot of time as we have to do the closing session soon. So as Sasha kindly mentioned, I just would like to set the scene. I think I can use this, right? Yeah, perfect. If you don't mind, I'm going to stand so I can see the slides better. I'm going to very quickly just set the scene and say why we are actually organizing today's session, because water is quite important, and we all know, and from the morning it has been mentioned diversely, even by Mr. Abu Saba in the opening remarks. It was very well mentioned, and by our other distinguished guests. So they are different aspects of water, but in this session in particular, we are going to talk about also the water quality, the One Health, and the importance of clean agriculture. So I try to be quite quick because we also have 2 speakers online. As you can see here, basically we want to expand the clean agriculture, and there is a call for action so we can all work together. Okay, this slide is just telling you a little bit about the connection between the natural capital and human capital. And in particular, our session is going to be focused on the linkages between natural and human capital, and how from our activities we can basically somehow reduce the natural capital that we have and basically affecting our ecosystem services. Water, as we know, is quite important. So just to quickly show you, if we work more on a nature-based solutions or we empower our natural ecosystems, you can see that even though we will still have our crops, meats, crop production and everything, but we also have our natural capital empowered. We have soil regeneration, we have also our water resources, quality conserved, etc. So it's better that we move from the intensive cropland into the natural ecosystems. Very quickly about the region, because as we heard from the morning in the speeches, we are in a very water scarce region. Just to quickly mention, even though this is an international conference, but just to give you a quick idea that Central Asia is quite water scarce. If you have seen, this is from the State of Land and Water report that FAO published recently, 2 years ago, I believe. So as you can see, the per capita consumption of water in Central Asia is quite high, basically the highest in the world, but the available water resources in Central Asia is quite scarce, just to show the importance of even the higher importance of safeguarding and water resources in this region, but in general globally. And as I said, we are focusing more on the water quality, because if we want to conserve the quantity of the water quality is an important factor. We always say that we cannot use all water, even though if they are available, but they have to be safe and suitable for our purposes. So this means that the quality of the water is quite important and falls under the water quantity aspect, basically. So the rising threats that we are facing within our session, we are going to talk a little bit about, as I mentioned, the water scarcity, but the misuse and extensive usage of agrochemicals, antimicrobial resistance, unfortunately, and the invasive species. AMR, I just put these slides and I will not read through it. You all know that antimicrobial resistance is a huge dilemma for the last few years, and the more we use herbicides, pesticides, and antibiotics, we are just increasing this global health issue, which is not only affecting the environment, but directly affecting also the human being. And now the challenges get even more complex. This is from a very recent report that UNEP just published 3 days ago. And as you can see, there is the challenge of invasive species in our world. So, you know, in order to also combat the invasive species, we still need to use more herbicides, more antibiotics, more basically integrated pest management, which can become a vicious circle and not only degrade our water qualities, but also add to the antimicrobial resistance. And as you can see, economically, it will cost the countries 423 billion. This is estimation in 2019, so it's quite a big challenge. So what we try to do is to advocate for a responsible agriculture. We all know that agriculture is the highest consumer of the water resources, so we have to be responsible users of agriculture. So we are trying to promote for clean agriculture, and we want to also promote that every person's action counts. So it's not only about us as international organizations, but every human being action counts. And to start this, Our session will quickly go through identification of the problem by the first speaker that we have. Then we will have some guidance through monitoring and data collection by our second speaker. And then we have two distinguished speakers that they will tell us about their experience and how every individual can have an impact in the change. And then we will have some very inspiring notes by Mr. Abu Saba on how international organizations can make a change. So basically, I'm going to pass these slides very fast. I hope I'm not over time. I guess I am. I will try to finalize very soon. So as I just tell you, the first speaker, the second presentation will be about data collection and monitoring, because we know the problem, but then we have to have enough data. We have to be able to monitor. We have to be able to model and know where the problem starts and where it goes, because without statistics and the proper data, we cannot take action. And then, of course, we need to take action, and that's why we will have two inspiring talks. And as I mentioned, the fifth presentation or the speech will be about how power of collaboration and basically innovation between international communities, countries, and also at individual level. Very quickly, before I finalize the FAO's role, as I mentioned, FAO is giving more importance on the One Health initiative, and to say that everything is an interlinked, so we don't look only into water quality in agriculture. Water quality is directly linked to human health, environment health, and as we advocate at FAO for the four betters, for better nutrition, better life, better environment, we all need to look into this holistic picture, and One Health is an example of how FAO is tackling the challenges, in particular for safeguarding the quality of the water. And of course, in this respect, we have different projects, we have publications, tools, guidelines. For instance, this is a new approach that Sasha is leading in headquarters, the DNA of the water, and how they can basically monitor the quality of the water through studying the genomes of pathogens, basically. And then finally, the new publication that we have and will be launched in Rome in October, actually with CGIAR Center, with IMI, we have developed this, and basically is the updated version of two old publications that FAO had. So just to give in a nutshell that FAO's role is, of course, to work with the countries, with other international organizations, and the quality of the water is extremely important as the quantity is, and that's why we are very happy to have this session today. So I give back the floor to Sasha. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sarah, for that overview of how to set the context of this particular session. With our first technical speaker, I'd like to welcome Professor David Carpenter, who's joining us virtually online. Can we pull up Professor Carpenter? Let me introduce him while the technician is dealing with the virtual connections. He is from the Institute of Health and the Environment at the University of Albany. He received his medical degree from Harvard University, and his research focuses on chronic health diseases from environmental carcinogen and chemicals. He has much to present on this topic, and so let me welcome Dr. Carpenter.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry I'm not there in Samarkand in person, and unfortunately I'm having a little difficulty sharing my screen, so here we go. What I'm going to do today, because there are many farm chemicals and there are many crops, I'm going to focus on one crop, that being cotton, and one class of chemicals, because they are the most commonly used chemicals in the world. Just to make the point, it's estimated that most of cotton would be lost to insects, fungi, and weeds without the use of pesticides. So while I'm going to be talking about the hazards of some pesticides, please understand that I recognize how important they are for the crops. Now, there have been recent dramatic changes in the use of farm chemicals, and this applies to almost every crop. Certainly applies to cotton, which is the crop I'm going to focus on because that's such a major focus of agriculture in Central Asia. But there's been genetic